us to this place. So if we pivot and start thinking about, well, then who is it that we are trying to reach? If we know that this is what's true about us right now, what we want to be able to do is make micro changes, right? And you probably have been through some of this maybe, well, if we just change our liturgy, if we change that, that's going to be the thing that really changes things. If we can update our website, I hear those young people, they like technology. So if we just update our website, that is going to be the thing that can really make a difference here. And so I'm guessing that maybe some of you, but you can imagine this particular congregation, they've tried some of those things and over time, but ultimately they just haven't seen many of those results. So when we think about this mission field, and if I were to connect with this group, it's like, well, if you could handpick the next 50 people that walk through the doors, or the next 50 or 100 people that engage in the life of this mission that we have here, and ultimately someday become part of the parish, who is it that you would want that to be? Well, we'd want it to be everyone. Well, we got some clues here of who we're not connecting with. If there's anyone that's been excluded from this particular congregation, it seems like whether intentional or not intentional, the 20 to 30 somethings, the 30 to 40 somethings, we just aren't connecting there. It would be great, when we think about sustainability for one thing, but really for the mission, we'd love to be able to connect with that. And I might let this age bracket be no more than, typically I will not let this be more than 20 years. But this is a counterintuitive thought, and it's an important thing to wrap our minds around, but that the more that we are able to narrow our focus on who it is that we're trying to connect with and reach, we actually do a better job of reaching everyone. And that seems counterintuitive, but the more narrow that we can think about, it's not that everyone doesn't count, much like the other chart, right? Those 20 and 30 somethings, they matter. We care about them. We love them. We would love to have them be part of it, but our strategies and what we do simply is not connecting with them. And so we need to pivot and say, well, for this group, well, who would you want that to be? They may say, well, we would love to reach 20 to 40-year-olds because we just have neglected that group. Whether there's a disconnect, whatever it is, we would love to see that. Are we trying to get the 20 to 40-year-old Episcopalians out of those other Episcopal churches in the region? We just want them all to come here. It's like, no, that's funny, but that's probably not what we'd love to be able to connect with some. Maybe they're spiritually curious, that they really are just seeking answers or maybe some purpose in life. Okay, so spiritually curious. And again, all these conversations may be similar, but they're different and unique. And this would be unique at your individual leadership team or conversation. Anything else that we want to be true? It's like, well, we're in a diverse community, and we just do not reflect that. But we really would love for us to be diverse in that we actually look a little bit more like the community that's around us, and we just have not done it. We'd love to have it. So we may add diverse 20 to 40-year-olds that are spiritually curious. And if we were to go back to this as well, we could add in kids and youth to this assessment with this group. So if I were to work with them, and if we looked at their numbers and demographics and say, well, do these 50 to 60-year-olds, is there still some youth that are hanging out? Are we connecting with the youth at all as part of it? It's like, well, I think we're doing great with youth. And well, tell me about youth. It's like, well, we've got, I think we got like 3 people, 3 great youth, and these, they just seem engaged. And well, you've got 100 people in your parish. 3 youth probably doesn't demonstrate by your information and data that we're generally doing a good job with them. So our youth may be out here as well. We care about our youth, but we're not quite connecting with them. And from a kid's perspective, I think we've talked about this in our demographics before, but if you look at what percentage of our population right around our parish, what's true about our area, I like to use that, what percentage, what did our demographics say about what percentage are birth through 18? And that may give us a number. A group that I was recently with, they were at 24.7% of their immediate demographic around their parish were between the ages of 0 to 18. I would want to compare that to what's true about our parish. And if that number was significantly less than that, it would be hard to say that we're doing a great job reaching kids as well. And so that would be a distinctive. And so if this particular group here, youth and kids, we love them, we care about them, but we just aren't really connecting with them there. So adding that back into who it is, we may say for this group, it's like that they have kids. And so this may be where that discussion lands with this particular group. So what I'm hearing you say is that we really would like to reach diverse 20 to 40-year-olds, some things that are spiritually curious with kids. If we think about who is it that we've struggled to connect with, where is it that we seem to have a gap in where we as insiders, seem to know this information, those that are outside may not know. When I think about that, so we think about this existing congregation, then we've got our 50 to 60-year-old Episcopalians from our previous chart, right? When we talk about the guest experience, I think that we have a greater chance that the 50 to 60-year-old Episcopalians are more likely to be willing to serve this group, however, when they walk through the doors. Even though that, this is the place that maybe you've worshiped for many, many years, that I like our odds, and I think that we could build a mindset to say, will you, as this existing congregation, be willing to serve this group if and when they walk through the doors, regardless of what that may be, whatever the event is. And this is a major mind shift. It's maybe a different mindset that I would say that it is true that if I am less, as I continue to take steps in my faith and realize it's less about me, it's not about me, it needs to be about others. And I understand that from my journey and what I believe that the way of Jesus is, that this is where our focus needs to be, that we are able to step back and say, I'm willing to do whatever it takes that we can connect with this next generation, because we haven't done it up to this point. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be on mission to connect best with this group. And it is going to take significant shifts of mindset to do that, but it's one of the most important conversations that we have in our planning process and the strategic planning. Again, groups that are, the more that we narrow our focus on who it is that we're trying to connect with and reach, the greater job that we do at reaching everyone. Does this exclude anyone? Common question. Absolutely not. We are not going to be carting people at the door. I'm sorry. You're 42, if you're here a few years ago, maybe we'd let you in, but we're not going to start carting people at the door and excluding that. And I would say that if in this particular scenario and having a conversation with this group, if a 50-year-old walks in that's spiritually curious, there's going to be so many things that they're able to connect with, just simply because they're spiritually curious, because we're thinking about what is it going to take to connect with this group. So that's really where the question lies, right? We could put this on a chart. We could put it and draw diagrams around it, but it's a shift of a mindset to say that we need to be intentional about reaching this group if I'm working with this particular congregation, right? So this is one of the key pivot points when you talk about launching a new life cycle in your congregation. If you've seen the average age of your congregation, continue to inch up. If we're not seeing those first-time guests that are coming through, this is one of those key pivotal inside-out type changes that we work with groups to make this pivot and shift. You're not going to drift to connecting with this group just by changing a couple programs. You're not going to drift to them suddenly coming up because you do a great flyer that goes out to all the homes in the neighborhood and the community. It's an inside, then outside shift in mindset that's going to allow us to think about this group. And the question I'll often ask is, will you fall in love with this group? Could you get to the point where you wake up every day thinking about what's true about this group, which really leads us then into where do we take the conversation from here?